What's up, everybody? I'm Flash. This is One Man's Opinion, the show where we cover just about everything. And today we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. I love going back to Dragon Ball Z and doing these DBZ talks with you all. Some of them have done really, really well. I've heard interesting conversations in my comments about several of these videos that I've done in the past. And so I'm hoping that a lot of you will comment on this one and let me know your thoughts. I'm making this video because I see it all the time, and it's something that I expected to go away after Team 4 Star's run kind of ended. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But I expected it to go away after that because I felt like the idea was popularized by Team 4 Star. But it's this idea that Goku wasn't a good father, and that Piccolo was a better father to Gohan than Goku was. And I think this is entirely a false perception of Goku. I think it was something that Team 4 Star did, obviously, as a joke. Their whole thing was based on comedy, but then a lot of people who maybe only ever watched the show once or didn't ever pay very much attention to the show, or whose influence of DBZ may have come more from the abridged version than the actual show did in the first place. But it became a very popularized opinion on the internet, even amongst people who have YouTube channels talking about anime or talking about Dragon Ball Z, that Goku was not a very good father and that Piccolo was a good father. I've seen one clip in particular from the Cell Saga where Piccolo is yelling at Goku about how his son was scared and he's wondering why his father isn't out there helping him, isn't saving him from Cell, why Goku threw him to the wolves. You know the scene I'm talking about, and people use this to point and say, look at Piccolo and how much he cares about Gohan, and look at how much he understands Gohan, and that Gohan didn't want to be a fighter like Goku, that Gohan never wanted to be a fighter. And I'm about to disprove all that. Piccolo was wrong, and if you thought he was right, you're wrong too. And I don't have to mince words about it because it's shown throughout the anime. It's not difficult to see. So basically the things that I want to cover in this video: number one, Goku's a really, really good father. He's an excellent father, as a matter of fact, and about the best dad that someone could ask for. Number two, he knew his son, and he knew his son better than anybody, and he knew his son better than Piccolo did. Even though Piccolo thought that just because he spent a lot of time with Gohan and that Gohan had a lot of respect for him, that he knew Gohan better than Goku did, but he didn't, and he was wrong, and I'll definitively prove that. And then number three, if Piccolo isn't a better father to Gohan than Goku, what role should we see Piccolo as? Because I don't think Piccolo was ever meant to be a father figure to Gohan, and I don't even think he was meant to be an uncle figure to Gohan. I think there's actually a role that he plays much better, and when you look at it in that context, I think the story makes more sense, and I think his role to Gohan makes more sense. I think his defense of Gohan makes more sense. But anyway, we'll cover all that, and we're going to hit these 3 points very quickly. Number one, Goku's an excellent father. From the very beginning of Dragon Ball Z, Goku is doing nothing but trying to save Gohan, his family, his friends. But it all starts with Gohan. Raditz shows up, kicks the crap out of Goku, and steals Gohan. Leaves Goku with an ultimatum. He can have his son back. He can have his life. But he's got to fall in line with Raditz and the Saiyans. They're going to have to destroy the planet, but Gohan will live. No big deal. That would have been an easy out for Goku. If Goku was a bad father, he would have taken that deal. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Raditz is an opponent he could never hope to beat. What would have happened had Goku taken Raditz's deal? Now, some may say, well, it's the more obvious way to protect your son. So if Goku was such a good dad, why didn't he take Raditz's deal? Obviously, he didn't care about Gohan. Goku only cares about fighting. And that's why he wanted to fight Raditz, because he only cares about fighting and not his family. That's the big idea, right, that everyone has of Goku, but it's not true. Consider the example that you set for your son if at the first chance, the first time he sees you laying on your backside with an enemy that you can't possibly beat, standing over you, you cower to that enemy. What kind of example is that to set for your son? Not a very good one. So instead, Goku fights Raditz, and Piccolo comes along to help. Now, we all know how that fight goes. Goku and Piccolo are both outmatched, and Raditz essentially wins the fight until Goku can detain Raditz long enough for Piccolo to kill them both. Goku leaves. He trains with King Kai, comes back, and when he arrives on planet Earth, he saves Gohan from Nappa. Happens pretty quick. Saves Gohan from Nappa. Fast forward a little bit, when he arrives on Namek, what's the first thing he does? Gohan gets a senzu bean. Saves Gohan's life again. Gohan could be dead easily twice now in the story and has yet to die. His father has now saved him in every major battle in the series and will do so again against Frieza. That's Raditz, Saiyans, Ginyu Force, Frieza. Gohan's been saved every time by his father. Always showing up. Granted, others have died in the way, but before Gohan bites it, Goku always shows up. Goku's always been there, protects him. What happens in the Cell Saga? During this time, Piccolo gets roughed up by Cell pretty bad. Piccolo has already been fighting Android 17, and he gets roughed up by Cell pretty bad and almost dies in the fight. And Gohan wants nothing more than to fight and to go help Piccolo. But Goku won't let him. Why? Because Goku knows better. He knows that there's nothing that they can do. And so he's being the good parent and saving his son, once again, from going to fight an opponent that he cannot yet beat.
Goodbye!
Gohan! Oh dear! There now. It's okay.
Man, gosh, Dad.
You would have been killed, son.
Goku had not yet entered the hyperbolic time chamber, neither had Gohan. They were still waiting on Vegeta and Trunks to come out at this point. Fast forward a little bit later, Tien Shinhan goes down and fights Cell, gives all his energy, and he's down for the count. Gohan still wants to go down and help. Goku doesn't let him. Goku talks him through it. Talks to him about how much he wants to help, but there's nothing that they can do at the time. They're not ready. Being that mentor, being that father figure, keeping his son out of danger and explaining things to his son as calmly as possible, even though I'm sure at the time, because Gohan was mad and he was saying things he didn't really mean, Goku probably wanted to smack the crap out of him. But Goku understood, because Goku understood his son. And that leads us into the second point. Goku knew more about his son than Piccolo did. The scene that everyone points to is Piccolo yelling at Goku saying, "Hey man, you don't know your son. Right now he's wondering why you won't save him. He's not a fighter like you."
He's not a fighter like you! Huh? He's wondering why his father is standing there, letting him die!
That's the scene everyone wants to point to. But that's not true either. All through the Android saga, Gohan wants nothing but to help the Z Fighters. As a matter of fact, it starts before that. It starts at the end of the Saiyan saga. As Gohan figures out his role and figures out he can fight. What happens immediately after the Saiyan saga? As soon as it's mentioned that they need to go to Namek, Gohan, with his injuries, is outside on the roof, exercising, trying to get stronger. What does he do all the way to Namek? He trains mentally with Krillin. When he's at Namek, what does he do? Leaves his life on the line against the Ginyu Force. He wants to fight. He says this repeatedly in the Android saga. His mom is constantly, Chi-Chi's constantly trying to hold him back from fighting. Gohan says repeatedly, I want to fight. I want to help. What were we just talking about up there on the lookout? Goku is having to physically restrain Gohan from going to help Piccolo and Tien. Why? Because he wants to fight. He wants to protect those around him. I don't think he's driven by the same desire to fight that his dad is. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that he has a lust for battle the way that Goku does. Goku genuinely loves a good fight and will sometimes put people at risk just because he wants a better fight. He only ever does this if he truly believes he can handle what's coming next. But he does have that lust for battle. But Gohan has a lust for battle too. It's just driven to protect those that he loves. You see that against Raditz. You see it against the Ginyus, against Vegeta and Nappa. You see it against Frieza. You see it against the androids and against Cell. And it would continue to be a theme throughout Dragon Ball Z. Gohan does want to fight, but he wants to do it to protect those that he loves. Simply as a protector, as a guardian. And so when Piccolo tells Goku that he's not a fighter like him, he's wrong. And Gohan would put the exclamation point on that mischaracterization by going Super Saiyan 2 after the death of Android 16 and after the near destruction of all the Z Fighters. Android 16 would help Gohan unlock that potential one more time and ultimately defeat Cell. Gohan, the strongest fighter in the known universe for a small amount of time. And so where does this leave Piccolo? Now let me make one thing clear before I go into my third point. Piccolo is and has always been one of my absolute favorite characters. Maybe I should have said that sooner in the video. I love Piccolo. And since I was a kid, I loved Piccolo. Piccolo was an amazing mentor. I always respected his mind, his protection of Gohan. Incredible. But if not a fatherly role, then what role does Piccolo play in Gohan's life? An older brother. And it makes sense given that Piccolo's only a little bit older than Gohan. After Goku died, Piccolo watched over Gohan. He made him tough, prepared him for the world, prepared him for what was to come. The Saiyans held him out in the wilderness. He was tough on him, he was hard on him, but sometimes an older brother can be harder on you than a parent can. You heard multiple times in the hyperbolic time chamber, Gohan continually requesting to Goku, don't hold back on me. Don't hold back on me. Now, part of that was because Gohan was stronger than he realized, and I don't think Goku was holding back all the time. But certainly when they first got in there, likely he was. And likely Gohan sensed that. Gohan could tell that Goku was pulling his punches a little bit because he was his son. Piccolo didn't pull his punches with Gohan. And if he did pull his punches, he still gave him enough effort that it hurt Gohan and built him up. Goku, being his father, I have a little bit harder time doing that. Piccolo also protected Gohan with his life many times, the same way Goku did. We see that over and over again. Piccolo is always there to save Gohan, whether it's from Nappa or whether it's later, from Frieza. Gohan respected Piccolo, looked up to him, much the way a little brother looks up to his older brother. Even wanted to dress like him when he went to fight Cell. And I think that that's a much more respectable role. There have been times where I thought in my mind, I don't understand why my parents treat my little brother the way they do, or why they treat my little sister the way that they do. Where maybe I disagreed with my parents on something that they decided. And that's because I look at my siblings as a sibling looks at their siblings, and not the way that a parent looks at their sibling. Piccolo just wanted to protect his little brother. That's all he wanted to do. He didn't see his younger brother as a fighter. He didn't see his younger brother. He still saw him as that kid that needed protecting, that needed saving. And he believed it so much that he doubted Goku, the boy's parent.
I'd rather die than wait.
And even for a moment, I think, made Goku doubt his decision. But Gohan would step up, prove them all wrong, and become the strongest fighter around in this instance, and later on with Ultimate Gohan, I would say. He's at least in the range. I think Ultimate Gohan would probably take Super Saiyan 3 Goku, even though I think Goku had more power in Super Saiyan 3, but I think Ultimate Gohan would outlast him because of the energy drain. That's a whole different conversation. I'm just saying I think Gohan would become the strongest Z fighter again in the future and prove once again that the dude is a fighter and that the dude did want to fight and that Goku was right. And that Goku knew his son, and Goku was a good father.
All right, guys. I'm afraid that I can't win this fight. I need someone to take over. That someone is you, son.
I hope that this video kind of put that to bed a little bit. I don't like seeing it. And I'm surprised that I still see people make videos about, Goku not being a good father or Piccolo being a better father to Gohan. It doesn't make sense to me, and narratively, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It makes much more sense to put Piccolo in an older brother role. And if you really pay attention to what's going on, Goku fulfills all the roles of a good father. Yeah, he's gone a lot. Yeah, he's out of Gohan's life a lot. I'll concede that to you. But why? Because he's busy protecting the world. Because he's busy protecting Gohan himself. He has to be gone from time to time because that's part of the job description. It's like having a soldier as a father, a U.S. Army veteran or a Marine or a Navyman, Sometimes the world calls them away. They've got a duty. They have a job to do. That doesn't make them bad fathers. On the contrary, it makes them very good fathers. It sets an amazing example for their son. And they are very much protecting their son by doing what they do. That's how I see Goku. He's a soldier. He's a fighter. And his son is certainly a fighter too. And he'll always have his older brother Piccolo to watch out for him. All right, let me know in the comments below. What did you think? Have you ever heard Piccolo be broke down into more of a brotherly role instead of a fatherly role? for Gohan. I think I'm pretty unique in this, but I think if you pay attention, it makes a lot of sense. So I'm very interested to see your comments down below. Let me know what you think. What do you think about Goku's role? Do you think people have kind of taken the meme of him being a bad dad too far? I have a lot of respect for Goku, and I hate to see him broken down to that. I get it's a joke in a lot of ways, but a lot of people take that joke and they don't understand the source material very well, and they take it seriously. And so I wanted to make a more serious video discussing how, that's not true. That's not a true characteristic of who Goku is. Just like him being stupid isn't a good characteristic of Goku is. Maybe that's another topic for another discussion. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Did you disagree with me? Do you think Goku's actually a really bad dad? Do you have thoughts? Do you have proof from the show or from the manga that would say otherwise? Do you think Piccolo's a better father? Do you think Gohan's not a good fighter, or he doesn't want to be a fighter? If you think any of those things and you thought that this video was wrong or it was bad, don't get mad. Just let me hear in the comments. And remember, this is all just one man's opinion. Thanks.